Ad Astra and Namaste, my fellow space exploration enthusiasts. We've got a great weekly update for you, and I will be going through what SpaceX is going to get up to in 2024 after an awesome Max 2023 in which they launched 100 Falcon 9 and Starship launches. Of course, the Starship launches were not as well as they could have gone, and I'm sure that SpaceX learned a lot from it. But for now, let's move on to what are the plans, not just for SpaceX, but for all the other space exploration organizations around the world, including NASA, ISRO, JAXA, ESA, and all the others who are in the space race. So it's not a space race anymore. It's thankfully a very collaborative thing going on. For example, the LUPEX, the Lunar Exploration Mission, which is a couple of years, at least maybe 3, 4 years away, but it's a joint collaboration between JAXA, the Japanese agency, and ISRO, my country's India's space agency. But I must give a shout out to space.com for their awesome Max weekly newsletters, in fact, daily newsletters, in which they keep me up to date with a lot of things. So, of course, coming back to SpaceX, Starlink constellation is going at a tremendous pace. The expansion plans are on track, and of course, the Starship launches that are going to be coming up are going to be vital to not just getting us to the moon as part of the Artemis missions, which is NASA's mission to get back to the moon, but also to the uh, final frontier, which is Mars. And now I'm joined by a future astronaut, the 2B Gaganyatri, as the Indian astronaut program is going to be called, or the Indian astronauts are going to be called, Gogu, aka Advitya Akshat. I, of course, am Aradhya Akshat, in case you haven't seen my videos earlier. So do check out my previous videos, not just about space exploration, but about our travels all over the place. I mean, we spent November, December just traveling, didn't we? All right. So there's going to be a total solar eclipse in 2024, and of course, the North American audiences are going to be in for a treat. There's going to traverse bits of Mexico and go all over through to the eastern seaboard, and then cross over the Atlantic. The Vulcan rocket launched the Peregrine moon lander, but unfortunately that did not go as planned. So I will just give you an update about that in a moment. But according to the ALMA radio telescope in Chile, the ripples in oldest known spiral galaxy were discovered, and they make for some really beautiful photographs. You should check them out, as I said, on space.com. And SpaceX launched Sweden's off Zone 3 internet satellites. The DARPA's X-65 crane, which is a very futuristic sort of suborbital aircraft, uh, you know, that's going to take its first flight in 2025. So we are looking forward to that as well, as we always do with lots of other things. Okay, so coming to the Vulcan launch, which was launched by the Vulcan Centaur United Launch Alliance, sorry, Astrobotics lunar lander was named Peregrine, but unfortunately, I think a valve that was stuck just capped out that project even as it began. And unfortunately, I don't think that it's going to work out as well as they planned, which just goes to show how risky space exploration is. And of course, just very recently, the Japanese Slim lander, which was kind of touted as a moon sniper, that also did not manage to function as well as it was hoped. But there are chances that it will get back up and running when the sunlight hits the solar cells in a few uh, days. All right. And there might be magic islands which are floating around on Saturn's moon Titan. Titan, of course, is Saturn's largest moon and is also the setting for a great animated movie called Titan AE. You might want to check that out. And then, of course, there's going to be a lot of activity in the space exploration sector from the private sector. SpaceX, of course, being the leader, but then there are many, many more, uh, how shall I say, excursions? No. It would be more like plans. So there are many more plans to explore the moon, and of course, in a later term, learning from the projects to the moon to Mars by lots of private players who are not just American but all over the world. So very nicely, spread out is the space exploration scene. And very interestingly, a rock from the top of Mount Everest, along with a tiny time capsule from Belgium and a physical meme coin, along with Reddit posts and a letter from a private astronaut who followed his father into space, are being delivered to the moon by DHL. So this full story, of course, is available on space.com, is also, of course, available on space.com. And then there are, of course, SpaceX launches going on all the time. The X-59 supersonic jet was launched among lots of other secret stuff that was going on by NASA and everything. So uh, there's obviously not going to be a lunar landing for the Peregrine moon lander, and it has suffered a massive dent, and it's obviously the propulsion system issue, which is connected to a fuel leak that is not going to allow the moon lander to complete its mission. In fact, the mission is over even before it got started. Okay, I was actually caught up in this interesting looking photo of fish aboard a fishing vessel, and the caption of the space.com article says 75% of all industrial fishing vessels are hidden. So I will be giving that a read later and delving deeper into that very fascinating story. All right, so as we covered earlier, there was a stuck valve on the Peregrine moon lander that, oops, that's dooming the moon lander. The James Webb Space Telescope spots hint of mysterious aurora on a failed star. Okay, so there's also the curious question of what does space smell like? Now, nobody wants to put their nose out there, do they? But we can obviously capture a sample and then come inside and open it up in a very controlled manner so that we can get a sense of the olfactory characteristic of outer space. And NASA chief said that the Chinese missions to the moon will not beat Artemis 2, but at the same time, the Artemis 2 astronaut launch has been delayed to September 2025. So there's a long way to go till humans are back even towards the moon. Not even landing, because the second mission is just going to circle the moon and come back like the early Apollo missions before Apollo 11, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and see, I always mess up the third person name. Eugene Levy? No, it wasn't Levy. Okay, let me ask Google. Who was the third astronaut on Apollo 11? Michael Collins. There we go. Michael Collins is the one. And these three people, of course, made history way back in 1969, 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago. Okay. Then, of course, there's a moon calendar, which reminds me, the New York Times space calendar is something that I recommend, as depicted in one of their articles, which I had read out in the previous space exploration update as well. SETI scientists begin huge new hunt for intelligent aliens. All right. So there is a collaboration between the SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence Institute, Breakthrough Listen, and the National Radio Astronomy Observatory. So let's see what happens to that. Although I doubt if we will be, you know, encountering aliens anytime soon. But who knows? The past is history, the future is a mystery. Hmm. Okay. Uh, there was an earthquake in Japan which shifted the coastline over 800 feet, and at the same time, the Peregrine moon lander uh, established some sort of communication with the deep space network. And let's see what goes on with that. And then there are private space stations which are getting conceptualized. So $100 million was awarded by NASA to a few, including Blue Origin and Voyager Space, right? Because the ISS is coming to its end of life term. It's going to be outmoded in the late 2020s, and around 2030 it will be decommissioned. All right. SpaceX direct to cell Starlink satellites relay first messages. Okay. Okay. So the first time that text messages were sent through Starlink satellites has been done on January 8th. And the X-59 supersonic quiet jet was unveiled. This little turbulent astronaut is fascinated by the lights behind me, as she always is. Exoplanets continue to yield some very unique characteristics of celestial bodies. Uh, and then there is a three body problem sci-fi series on Netflix, due out on March 21. So that's a little way off still. Never mind, never mind. We also have a long way to go. And the Axiom 3 astronauts reached the space station a couple of days ago from now. And the Mars sample return mission is not going well. The Peregrine moon lander is going to burn up in the atmosphere. It's going to be deorbited, right? And I guess SpaceX launched its 300th successful mission. So kudos on that, Mr. Musk and team, of course, because more than Elon Musk, it's the team that makes it happen. No doubt, without him, it wouldn't have been possible. And despite all his, shall we say, eccentricity, it's obvious that it's going to take a lot more to get to the edge of space and beyond. All right, so finally, I will share one thing in which Elon Musk reveals cause of Starship explosion. And the thing is that uh, if the payload had been there, it would have reached orbit. So that is the thing that Starship is going to deal with in the upcoming third test flight. And then James Webb Space Telescope discovered the oldest black hole ever, while the Peregrine moon lander aimed for a safe crash into Earth while burning up in the atmosphere as much as it can. All right, great. So with that, we are going to bring this space exploration update of this week to an end. And next time we will be covering space pollution and orbit cluttering. So that too will be based on my findings, or rather a New York Times article's findings. Till then, see you and Ad Astra. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye, take care, stay safe, and smash that sub button for awesome acts fun. Bye, say bye bye.